Welcome to Spotlight Features, Escape and Explore. My name is Jennifer Knet. Join us as we venture from Newfoundland to the coast of British Columbia.
In the spirit of respect and truth, we honor and acknowledge that this production was recorded in Treaty 8 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree and Dene. We recognize the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and for those who have gone before us.
Welcome to Spotlight Features, Escape and Explore. I'm Jennifer Knet, your guide through the breathtaking landscapes and vibrant cultures that make Canada a top destination for travelers. The landscape that you see behind me is Fort McMurray Wood Buffalo, where I am a lifelong resident and a huge advocate for this community and a very proud Canadian. Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario isn't just your typical picturesque Canadian getaway. It's becoming a mecca for mountain biking enthusiasts from near and far. The trails of Algoma are calling, and riders across the nation are answering, eager to experience the adrenaline-pumping terrains that have catapulted this region to the top of every biker's must-ride list. Amidst this growing popularity stands local riding legend Danielle Anstes. With her passion for the sport and her hometown's scenic roots, Danielle has become a dynamic force in expanding the mountain biking community, especially for women. Her efforts as an ambassador have not only put Sault Ste. Marie on the map, but are also shaping a more inclusive and vibrant biking culture.
I can get on my bike, ride to the trail, and mountain bike. I feel so lucky to have that. Like living in Sault Ste. Marie, we really are naturally gifted. We have access to all kinds of terrain close. I really feel like people are choosing to travel here now for our mountain bike trail, which is fantastic. You know, we're pretty lucky. My name is Danielle Anstes. I'm a mountain biker, a cycling enthusiast, a cycling advocate, and a mom. So in my 20s, I worked at a retail shop. We sold skis primarily, but we dabbled in bikes. And all summer long, I would kind of complain that it wasn't winter. So my boss at the time said, here's a mountain bike, why don't you go try it? And I got bit by the bug. I'm so happy that he led me down that path, because now I work at a bike shop who sells skis. Belarusian, I can't believe it. I've been here for, I think, almost 16 years. These are my people. They're my friends and my family. And I've never worked a day in my life. I've played every day, so I'm very thankful for that. I remember a couple years ago I was riding and I traveled to mountain bike, and then I came and I was riding here and I was like, holy cow, the level of trail is just escalating. The investment in infrastructure is happening in Sault Ste. Marie. We're getting an awesome trail, but I no longer feel like I need to travel to find that great trail. It's happening here. Trailtown, Ontario. It's so great to see what's happening in Sault Ste. Marie. We don't have the great, huge, tall mountains, but we do have the terrain and that uninterrupted wilderness riding that I think is super spectacular and kind of unique to Sault Ste. Marie. I'm excited for my kids and the future riders for the option of that progression that's now offered, you know? That wasn't there 10 years ago. So we got a guest book here. We have people who come from out of town are so stoked about our mountain bike trails, and so their words are here. I'm so excited to share what we have here. It's awesome.
This is your first week riding. I'm so excited. And you're new too, right?
So about 10 years ago, I remember sitting with my husband and he said, who are you going riding with tonight? And I listed off like a group of dudes, and he's like, why aren't there any women or girls? And I just said, I don't know anyone who rides who's a woman or a girl. And then he said, what are you doing to change that? And I was just like, whoa. A friend of mine, Stephanie, came to work at Belarusian at our old location, and having another woman in my corner, I said to Steph, hey, would you be interested in hosting this woman's mountain bike ride? So with the help of 4 other co-workers who were guys, we started this women's ride, Titty Tuesday, and it's kind of blossomed from there.
We're here for fun, right? Is it anybody's first night here, Titty Tuesday? Sweet. So we have a couple of people coming.
And so it's really growing. The first year we got about 25 ladies out, and now we're getting 80 to 100 ladies out at the trailhead. It was founded on kind of 4 principles: that fun, friendship, fitness, and overall radness. Riding a mountain bike is not easy, it's hard. But when you come together in a group that's supported with other like-minded individuals, you can do really hard things. And when you do those hard things, you're like rewarded for it. And so I'm really stoked that these ladies are willing to show up at the trailhead and try something new and kind of push those boundaries on a mountain bike, which is really cool. So just seeing that that fear dissolve and dissipate is so rewarding. I'm stoked to share my love of the sport of mountain biking with other people. You put a bike underneath me and I feel like I can go anywhere. That really is an adventure tool, my bicycle. So I'm thankful for that.
Next, join us as we set sail in Saskatoon aboard the Prairie Lily. Captain Mike Stecken navigates us through the storied waters of the South Saskatchewan River, unveiling the city's skyline from an enchanting riverboat perspective. He'll share insights into the trials and triumphs of running one of Saskatoon's cherished attractions. Get ready to glide along the currents of a prairie treasure. Coming up next.
I hear over and over again, wow, it is so pretty from the river. Saskatoon's a nice city, and when you see it downtown and wherever, it's quite an attractive city, but you get out on the river, and it's quite spectacular. And even people who have lived here for all their lives are quite taken aback. My name's Mike Stecken, owner and captain on the Prairie Lily Riverboat. Well, it does seem like a bit of a non sequitur to be a captain on a ship in the middle of the prairies. But nonetheless, I did spend 27 years in the Naval Reserve. And I had a fair amount of experience with ships of this size and smaller and larger, of course. This is very much a riverboat, but it's 119 passenger capacity and it's 107 gross tons. So it's a good sized ship for this valley. It's probably the biggest ship that's been here since the days of the steamboats 120 years ago. Now, we've been in operation now for 13 years, and we have noticed a significant increase year over year with ridership, to the point we are quite often sold out. And that's a function of the product we offer, which we're very proud of, but it's also a function of the increasing number of people who live in the neighborhood, live in the city, who want to explore, they want to see new things. The product we offer here, too, is a very nice ship. And we have dinners and brunches, and we have regular tours, we have a GPS-triggered commentary that talks all about the history of the valley and the bridges and the city.
Its modern French Renaissance design is similar to the other famous railway hotels across Canada.
We're quite proud of our ship. And so we're always welcoming people on, and it is heartening. You feel like you want to welcome people more when, statistically speaking, they're going to be impressed when they walk on, and you're going to get compliments. So it works both ways, right? So if the passengers are complimentary to the product, to the ship, to the river valley, to the city itself, then that's kind of nice in its own way. So that's kind of rewarding too. So the positive passenger feedback is always great, and it does tend to keep one's morale up. I think I'm most proud of our crew. I'm very proud of the ship and how she looks and how she functions and operates, and also proud of our success. We've done very well here, and when your biggest problem is trying to meet demand, people say, well, that's a great place to be as a business. Well, sure it is. But on the other side of it, sometimes it gets kind of disheartening to say, I'm sorry. We're full. Oh my gosh. It's kind of two sides to every coin, I guess. The biggest challenge here is our operating environment. It is a river, we're 1,600 odd feet above sea level. And it's a big river, but it's so variable and things change so much. But you find out where you can go and you figure out the river. My staff call me a river rat. And you figure that all out and you make it work. Well, you'd think that going up and down the river numerous times a day, days on end, would get boring, but actually it isn't. There's always something new to see. There's always something that's changed. And there's, of course, so many people, visitors who come in. So there's always something different. It's always interesting in its own way.
Having spent my entire life in Fort McMurray, I've witnessed firsthand the town's dynamic character through its peaks and valleys. Yet through every challenge, I remain convinced that Fort McMurray holds untold treasures for those who visit. From its breathtaking natural vistas to the undaunted spirit of its community, there's an undeniable charm here waiting to be discovered. Allow me to guide you through the reasons why Fort McMurray isn't just a place to pass through, but a hidden gem that beckons tourists with open arms. First thing I think of is community, and then of course second is just the beauty. It's such a beautiful place to live. We've had a little bit of a bad rap, I guess. A lot of people who come here leave with their stories, and that's what, I guess, generates a further story to people when they go to visit them or when they go back home. I feel like Fort McMurray isn't always allowed to tell its own story. It's often muddled about things that have been said already. We've also had our share of hard knocks, and I think those are often shared within the public, and that's what spreads more than the good news stories. We did also, I'm sure many people who would watch this know that we had a giant wildfire in 2016.
An evacuation alert has been issued for Fort McMurray and the surrounding area as firefighters battle strong winds in their effort to quell the blazes.
I think that definitely makes people question as to why they would even come to visit. You know, not even consider moving here, but even, you know, just a quick stay. I think the wildfire, as scary as it is to outside people, it hurt people in their hearts, for lack of a better word. It just kind of just took away that little bit of feeling of safety, and it really hurt community. We had friends that chose to no longer return. I think directly after the wildfire is actually probably some of my best memories. I talk about it often with my kids, that when we came back into town after the fire and seeing all the responders on what's now named Responders Way, that's like a core memory that sits inside. But I think it also offered us an opportunity to rewrite our story a little bit. Our emergency responders were fantastic in it. The communication was fantastic. And I think it kind of gave people back that feeling of safety that we were missing afterwards and maybe couldn't put our finger on. But we have so many good things here that I just don't think we're sharing it as much as we could. You know, we have wonderful skiing. We have our Birchwood Trail system is fantastic, not only in the summer, but in the winter as well, right? For cross country. If you are a person who enjoys ATVing or snowmobiling, you can just access the forest out your backyard. When people come in and they see a community, they're really shocked. You know, they see how giving we are and just all the things that there are to do here. I think if you visit any weekend, there's always something really great going on. It really builds that community that everybody wants to find, and you'll find in smaller parts of big metropolis and stuff. But here, it's all over. Yeah, you can go from one end of the town to the other and still see people that you know, and go to school with your coworkers' children and things like that. It's the community that keeps me here. So while I didn't choose to be born here, I always choose to stay here.
Here are 3 reasons why your social strategies should include Rogerstv. Reason number 1 is we have hyper-local audiences. The community TV channel gives you a chance to engage with people where you live, so you really get to know your neighbors and they get to know you. Reason number 2 is we can help diversify your distribution. With social media, it's really important to be able to have a wider audience, and Rogerstv can actually help complement your online presence by delivering to a different audience. And it's actually really easy to repurpose your existing content or to just create new material specifically tailored for community TV. And finally, reason number 3 is we can help enhance your credibility and your trust. And by aligning your brand with Rogerstv, you can tap into that trust that viewers have. This can boost your reputation, especially among viewers who favor local businesses and value community involvement. 1, 2, 3. It's that easy to build your local audience with Rogerstv.
Dive into the next segment on Spotlight Features Escape and Explore, where we submerge into the underwater wonderland of Nanaimo on central Vancouver Island. Known globally for its exceptional scuba diving, these crystal clear waters promise an aquatic adventure filled with marine mysteries and breathtaking views. Prepare to be enchanted by the sights beneath the waves in one of the world's premier diving destinations.
For me, it's always been being around the water and the new environment. You know, unlike anything that you see on the shoreline, it's totally a new world. In the summer, we get a lot more tourists that are coming for diving. You know, they're doing other things as well. They're taking advantage of the beautiful sights on Vancouver Island, but they're always focusing in getting, you know, 1 or 2 days of diving on their trip as well, because they've heard about the diving, and it is world renowned. We've taught over 5,000 people to dive, just the years that I've been in business. Originally, when we first started, we were seeing mainly German tourists coming out. And we'd see them, actually the same guys, you know, every couple of years we'd see the same guy come back and just loving the diving that he's doing here. And, you know, he's had opportunities to dive in the Red Sea, which, you know, at one time they said was #1 in the world. But the diversity we have is kind of untouched to a lot of areas. I really enjoy seeing all the different nudibranchs, the different anemones, even the different types of crabs, lots of different shrimp that we have. You know, we have a lot of fish, but it's not like the Caribbean for fish. It's the invertebrates that bring this area kind of up towards #1 in the world. I mean, we're lucky that way because you look at Alberta, you know, out there people are diving lakes where you're not seeing a lot in the water. Here, you know, 15-20 minute drive, you're able to get to several different shore dives in this area, which are all kind of unique on their own. You're seeing wolf eels, you're seeing octopus. This area and Puget Sound in general have the largest octopus in the world. We used to do a lot of charters out to Snake Island with snorkeling with the seals, but they changed the regulations and now people aren't supposed to interact with seals or sea lions anymore. Although when we're diving, they're coming by us. Check us out, which is pretty incredible. They're so graceful in the water that it's really neat for, especially, you know, when we've got new divers going in the water too, it's really unique for them to see. And those are big kind of drawing cards for people. And then they start to see what I'm looking at is all the small invertebrates. Just the different colored stuff and the small stuff that, you know, we're well known for. The wrecks that have been sank on the coast have actually created now reefs. You're actually, the amount of sea life that is actually on these wrecks now, they're covered in plumose anemones. And such a diversity of rockfish, from juvenile fish using the wreck as a hideout, you know, for protection. It's amazing the amount of fish life that's actually on these wrecks now. You don't have to be that great of swimmer to be able to dive. You just take your time and go at your own rate. You've got that freedom to move around and, you know, you still think you're moving along pretty good when you're underwater. The sea lions make us look like fools.
Now it's time to head on a journey to the East Coast, where the heart of Newfoundland awaits with an experience unlike any other, the famed Screech-In ceremony. If this is your first acquaintance with Newfoundland, chances are you're yet to discover this unique tradition. On the other hand, those who ventured into this picturesque province probably have not only witnessed, but have reveled in this ritual. Our destination is Gander, Newfoundland, where our guide, Brian Mosher, guides us through the steps to becoming an honorary Newfoundlander.
Welcome to Newfoundland and Labrador. Welcome to Gander. Welcome to the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 8. My name is Brian Mosier, and today we'll be performing a screech-in ceremony. For those of you that don't know, a screech-in is a ceremony that turns visitors into honorary Newfoundlanders. Each season, we bring busloads of tourists right here to the Legion in Gander. We feed them a traditional Newfoundland meal, we teach them a little bit about our history and culture, and then we screech them in as honorary Newfoundlanders.
Now, what many of you don't know is that we can't let people come right here to the Legion without making you one of us. We love you dearly. We played some music for you. We overfed you. We want you to feel welcomed here. Well, right now, you can't let someone leave without making you honorarily one of you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a ceremony we otherwise known as the Screech-In.
The ceremony's literally been around for decades, and everybody's got their own take on it. But one thing remains the same. It's all about having fun. The ceremony asks you basically to prove yourself worthy to be a Newfoundlander. It tests you in 4 separate areas. To prove that you can dress like a Newfoundlander, we'll put the sou'wester or the K-band or the rubber cap on you. The ceremonial Newfoundland feast, of course, asks you to sample some traditional Newfoundland food, including raw bologna, Vienna sausages, jams, and of course a peppermint knob. Finally, after it's all said and done, comes the time to make it a true screech-in by doing a little toast to Newfoundland and in true Newfoundland style, downing a shot glass of screech in one mouthful. It produces a variety of responses. Once we've fed you and watered you, then comes the true showing of your love for Newfoundland. Out comes the cod, and you get to kiss it. The ceremony is a lot of fun, so much so that many people now are placing Get Screeched In on their list of plans to do while in Gander, Newfoundland. Plan your trip to Gander, Newfoundland and Labrador, and we'll see you right here at the Legion.
London, Ontario has been a significant part of Canada's history, with landmarks that stand as testaments to its rich past. One such landmark is Eldon House, the oldest residence in London, which has proudly withstood the test of time for 125 years.
Hi there, I'm Nikki McKenzie, and I'm the museum coordinator here at Eldon House Heritage Site and Gardens in London, Ontario. Eldon House is the oldest continued house here in London. I've worked at Eldon House off and on for almost 10 years. What I like most about my job is that I'm not confined to one specific thing. I get to experience the museum as a whole, and I get to interact with the public, but also get to interact with the artifacts. A lot of people, when they come in, including myself, are very comfortable in the space because it does feel like you're stepping into a friend's home, which is so wonderful. This has also become kind of a family place. I have a large family and they really appreciate Eldon House as much as I do, which is so wonderful. And I have members of my family who are very history focused, so they like the historical element. And then family members who are very interested in the botanicals, so they enjoy coming to the gardens. This museum is also quite unique in that we don't just have histories of the family, we also know a lot about the servants that worked here. And reading their diaries and looking at their photographs, it's kind of a joke with the museum staff that we're now the servants. So we tend to relate to the people who used to live here and used to work here. We always joke that the ghosts of Eldon House will never bother us because we're the ones cleaning the place, which is quite fun. So it kind of puts you in that space, in that historical mindset sometimes when you're doing some of the silver polishing and other work. Eldon House has a really kind of tight-knit team environment. So we have staff that work with the collections, we have our curator, or we have programming staff, like my colleague, who works with creating events and education. And then we have facilities who work with the house, garden staff who maintain these lovely gardens. And then we also have some historical interpreters. So people who are the front face of the museum. When you come in, they're the people who greet you and tour around. And because we have such a small team, it's nice because we get to work really closely together and we get to involve people in different elements of different jobs. We're very proud to welcome the world to Eldon House. And we get, a lot of visitors every year, not only local individuals, but people from international countries to come and see the house. And it's so wonderful when you get to bring people in and they've never been here before. And my favorite thing is just being able to spark like a little bit of interest in history in those people who I'm talking to. There really is something for everyone in the house. So for me, it's just seeing people's minds change when they walk into the museum and kind of sparking that passion in somebody that I feel so passionate about this house and I get to actually share it.
Thank you so much for joining us as we shared the stories of these hidden gems across Canada. We hope that hearing them has encouraged you to travel across these gorgeous lands and perhaps find some hidden gems of your own. Thank you so much.